At first, it just started off as a cold. We were all not feeling so well. And I remember them gradually getting better. For a time there, I would feel normal again, and then I'd kind of feel sick again. Everyone just thought it was a cold that it took me longer to get rid of.
Dearest, precious family, how do we begin to put into words our gratitude to you?
We think of you often, and from the moment we heard our daughter would need a heart transplant, we have been praying for your strength, peace, and comfort.
Well, you know, it was like any other December, Christmas approaching with young kids in the house. They're all excited about that. And it was specifically exciting for Gracyn because she's a singer, and she was chosen to sing in our church service for Christmas Eve. So she was pretty excited about that, except about a week prior, she wasn't feeling very well, and Robin decided to take her to the pediatrician.
And they said, oh, you know, Gracyn has what everybody else has. It's going around, just a virus. So just head on home and, you know, she'll be fine.
The night before Christmas Eve, she came into my bedroom and she couldn't sleep, so I let her crawl in. And I remember her hands on my back. They were frozen. The next morning, she just couldn't really even muster enough strength to get out of bed. And, Robin took her back to the pediatrician.
They were obviously seeing signs that were extremely serious.
We're going to take you in an ambulance. We're going to take you down Arnold Palmer and let them check you out down there. And that's where we found out that a virus had attacked her heart.
Our ER doctor, Dr. Clark, who was so great, he had been with us all morning, and we were staying outside the room. I said, do you have kids? And he said, yes, I do. And I said, please just be honest with me and tell me what this is. And he said, he paused, he was so sweet. He paused and he said, I would rather have somebody tell me that my child had leukemia than have what I think Gracyn has.
Out of the blue, a random virus attacked our daughter's heart. The doctors in the ER shared this shocking news with us as we stood in disbelief. We had no idea such a thing was possible. Her heart was only beating at 20%, and she wasn't perfusing the extremities of her body. Frozen hands on my back. You know, she was dying right next to me in bed that morning, and I had no idea.
Gracyn was extremely ill. She was in heart failure and in shock and multi-system organ failure, and that means that many of her organs had already started to fail, including her heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. She was in a horrible condition. The prognosis was very poor, and we didn't know if she would survive the night, the week.
So Robin got there as they were beginning the process of putting her on the ventilator, and by this time she was just totally delirious. In fact, she was very agitated and would scream out and say things. And at one point she just started yelling, I'm gonna die. I gotta do something. My little girl's in peril, I have to do something. And there was nothing I could do. They gently explained her diagnosis to us, viral myocarditis. As we listened to the doctor's words that day, we knew our lives would forever be changed.
We decided that the only way she would survive was to support her heart with the Berlin Heart implantable assist device.
The Berlin Heart is a device that was made for children specifically, that is sewn into the heart and literally does the work of the heart for the child because their heart is sick. Typically, it's for a child that's going to need a heart transplant.
I gotta ask, since it's experimental and all this stuff, what happens if my insurance won't cover it? And the surgeon, Dr. Blywise, he looked at me and he said, you know what, that's not anything for you to be worried about right now, because we are going to save your daughter's life and we're going to use this machine to do it. He said, you know, we've been known here to do what we need to do regardless of the cost.
It's always a tough decision, but for her, we knew that that was really her only shot.
The next couple days were, again, really a roller coaster.
They were bringing her up in the elevator, and I'll never forget, because there's this team of doctors, you know, rolling her bed into the pediatric ICU, and then there's this one doctor pushing this machine that is now attached to my daughter. And I'll never forget it.
Imagine being 9 years old, waking up from a coma and being told your heart stopped working right and this machine is keeping you alive and pumping your blood for you, and you're going to be in this hospital until you can get a heart transplant. It was a tough thing to tell a 9-year-old.
When you're waiting for a heart, living in a hospital, hooked to a machine, a lot of people thought, oh man, I bet you guys were just waiting for the day they were going to tell you they had found a heart, and you're just not.
There was a lot of things that happened over those 4 months. There were a number of life and death situations. There was just the simple trying to take medicine, getting up to go to the bathroom, different things that were just, you know, frustrating. The number one thing, though, that Gracyn will say is the hardest thing about being in a hospital on an artificial heart is waiting, just waiting for a day you don't know when or if it's going to come. We are deeply saddened by your loss and can't begin to comprehend the grief you have experienced.
Yet we hope and pray you will be encouraged by the life your child's heart will allow our daughter to live. Although she obviously doesn't know you personally, she loves and prays for you often as well. Because of our faith, you know, we knew that God had a perfect plan, and we also know that God's timing is perfect. So the day that it happened, I had just actually gotten out of the shower, and you get this phone call from your nurse, and she goes, Robin, I think we found a heart.
About 8 o'clock, I got a call from Robin. I just got into the office. She said, I think they might have found a heart. And I did what all good husbands would do. I asked, well, what do you want me to do next? I didn't know what to do. And she said, well, go grab the boys and get on over here.
I don't remember being scared, but I knew that everything was going to be okay. No matter what happened, even if the surgery didn't work out, I knew that it would all be okay. And that no matter what happened, I would just have to keep trusting in God.